Thanks to science.
I figured out the problem of why my recordings keep stopping. Apparently, while the OBS tab is like technically selected, like it is the active tab, if you press space, it starts and stops recordings. I didn't know that. So I've been going over to OBS, starting a video, coming over to the video that I'm reacting to, and then pressing space, but the OBS tab is still selected, um, so it stops the recording. Thankfully, I know that now. I should be able to stop it from happening again. Um, Anyways, I did the whole intro to this video, um, and I fucking pressed space, and I'm not gonna edit them together. I'm just gonna do the intro again. Basically, I've been having a lot of like I've been being really frustrated the past few times I've done a video. Um, and so I stopped doing it for a while because I kept getting frustrated because most of what the creationists that I've reacted to were saying was pretty much the same nonsense. The same misinterpreted nonsense. In the same lies, in the same, just the same everything. It would, like, every video was pretty much the same points. Um, but I was looking around Answers in Genesis' channel because I wanted to do another video. And I saw this one. It was about, the thumbnail said something about, dinosaurs and feathers. And this is the title. You can see the title here, and I think it's gonna be like an interesting new argument because most of the videos I've reacted to don't really say much about dinosaurs.
We are now told by evolutionists that birds are dinosaurs. Thanks to science, we.
No. No. Wow, that's a new lie. No. We not evolutionists because scientists say that um, birds evolved from dinosaurs, not that they are dinosaurs.
We know our planet is home to 10,000 or so species of living dinosaurs.
We don't know that. Okay, fuck off with the dinosaurs thing, but first of all, we don't know how many species live on this planet. We just don't. Because we keep finding more species. And, like, there are estimates of how many species are on the planet, but we can never truly know.
We just call them birds.
One evolutionist even said a penguin is just as much a terrible lizard as a stegosaurus. So what's going on?
What? Who did you hear say that? Who did you hear say that? Because they're off their fucking rocker if they actually meant that. I bet that's quote mined. But if they actually meant that, off their fucking rocker.
Joe. Hi everyone, I'm Gabriela Haynes. I'm a PhD paleontology here at Answers in Genesis.
I'm Joel Lineweber. I'm a paleo artist, and we're here at the Allosaurus exhibit in the.
That's interesting. Give me a second. Let me Google their names. If I can find my cursor. There we go. Dr. Gabriela Haynes. That's Answers in Genesis, Creation Museum, Answers in Genesis again. What's this? Nope. That's not what I want. There's her LinkedIn. Let's see. Let's see. Dr. Gabriella Haynes. Credibility. And it's a bunch of answers in Genesis again. Come on. Creation today again. Why is it the same results? Give me a second. Dr. Gabriella Haynes, let's see, degree. Federal University of Sierra State in Brazil, South America. Brazilian scientist. Gabriela. Okay. His worldview. That's a creation museum. PhD in geology and paleontology from the Federal University. Yeah, I already know that. That's very interesting. Alright. So, research. I see literally no research by her on Google Scholar. Like none of these are by her. So, what, does she have no research? Like, you'd think that if she has all this proof that, like, literally all science is wrong, and specifically science in her field, you'd think that she'd have, like, some research, some peer-reviewed research, but I see absolutely nothing. Most of literally everything for the results, for her name are just creationist sources, and literally one argument, and that's what this video is about. I have no reason to trust her as a source. I'd like to remind everybody that just because somebody has a PhD does not mean that they are a credible source. And this is really good proof of that, because looks like she has no research, nothing to back up her claims, and it just seems to me like she just went to school to get that PhD just so that she would sound more reputable, because genuinely, if she actually had proof, that's great for her. Cash in that proof. Get your fucking Nobel Prize. Like, there is no reason to hold out that proof only for supporting creationism. That makes no sense.
I'm Gabriella Haynes. I'm a PhD paleontology here at Answers in Genesis.
I'm Joel Lineweber.
Joel Lineweber. Vice President of Design. The VP of Design and Web Development Design at Answers in Genesis. He's got a Pinterest page, apparently. Dribble. What? Facebook. There's Answers in Genesis again. Joel Lineweber degree. Oh, here's some dirt. Oh no, that's Joseph Lineweber. Never mind. Joel. I don't see any. I don't see any degree. It seems to me like he's just like an artist. I guess they put paleo artist. I guess he's probably the one who like makes the pictures of the dinosaurs in this video, if I had to guess. I don't really see anything in the scientific sphere about him, so...
I'm a paleo artist, and we're here at the Allosaurus exhibit in the Creation Museum. We see feathered dinosaurs everywhere nowadays, in books, in toys, and movies, like this feathered Pyroraptor in Jurassic World. Both Dr. Haynes and I are Christians who believe the account of history in God's Word, the Bible. And we're going to discuss whether the idea of feathered dinosaurs is reasonable to believe in a biblical worldview.
I will get into my side of the argument of feathered dinosaurs later on. I just wanted to stop it because 30 seconds or something of somebody else's video could get you copyrighted.
The Bible says that the winged fowl were created on day 5, and the land animals like reptiles, dinosaurs, on day 6. This is the opposite order from what evolutionists claim. It's clear from scripture that animals reproduce after...
Okay, first of all, creatures with feathers and creatures with scales most likely existed at the same time during the time when dinosaurs were around. I'm not sure which came first. I'd say probably scales. But not all creatures with scales exist on, like, the ground. There are fish with scales, and most fish have scales, actually.
After their kind. So, we know that God did not use evolution to make birds evolve from dinosaurs. But well, can we accept the idea of feathered dinosaurs without accepting evolutionary ideas?
Feathered dinosaurs like this Pyroraptor from the Jurassic World have become a poster child for this topic. And many people believe there's good science to back up these claims.
The idea that dinosaurs like Velociraptor were fully feathered is no longer at all controversial.
Even some creationists claim that your worldview has little influence over these interpretations.
Okay, so first off, I'm gonna throw this out there. For something that can fly, for that to evolve, feathers would have had to evolve first. So if birds did evolve from dinosaurs, which there is massive evidence for, evidence that what's her face, what's her name? Give me a second. Evidence that Gabriella Haynes, the lady in this video, should be fully aware of, then obviously, like, land-dwelling animals would have had to evolve feathers to start that out, to start the evolution of flying. Whoops.
But let's examine the claims. How much movie-making magic is going on related to this topic?
Well, Pyroraptor is not a good example at all because it did not look like that. It was like the size of a turkey with only few bones found.
Okay, so so first off, to discredit a scientific thing by saying, oh, well, this looks like this in a Hollywood movie, it didn't actually look like that, is a really dumb way to try and discredit a scientific piece of information. Jurassic Park does show dinosaurs with feathers, but I guarantee you they were not the reason why we think that dinosaurs had feathers. They had to have that idea before they made the visuals like that. You know that, right? And the reason why they had that idea is because at that time, at the time that they were making the movie, it was a fairly well-known hypothesis that dinosaurs may have had feathers.
As you can see, and the bones were not even connected, articulated to each other.
Pyroraptor wasn't found with any feather impressions. Evolutionists think that it may have had feathers.
Some scientists claim that Archaeopteryx, that famous animal always known as a bird, well, now they're saying that it was a feathered dinosaur.
Oh, you mean this guy?
Yep.
This is a replica of what might...
That is cool! I want that for my wall! Oh man, that's awesome! Oh man, that's wasted on you pricks. That's annoying. But first off, the reason why we think, and first of all, once again, the stylistic choices in a movie are not accurate, scientific knowledge. So to say that, just because they depicted those dinosaurs as having feathers, and it may not be true, that's not a way to discredit that some dinosaurs had feathers. But oh man, that's cool. I want that.
Might be the world's most famous fossil. But is this a dinosaur or a bird? And how do we tell the difference between birds and dinosaurs? We're going to show you 3 ways to tell the difference between a bird and a dinosaur that even a kid can understand. But first, evolutionists are saying some surprising things that are different.
Okay, so I caught on to this a little bit delayed reaction, but nobody is saying that birds and dinosaurs are the same thing. Nobody is saying that. You guys are the only ones who are saying that.
Different from what scientists used to believe. So let's talk about how we got here.
The point is, evolutionists have been changing the definitions of words. They have been changing their meaning, and that's a big problem.
Like you guys?
Because they're not changing those definitions, they're not changing those meanings because the data has changed. They're changing those definitions to better match, to better fit their evolutionary.
Which is why, that's why the scientific method works. Because we change our opinions based on the facts.
Worldview.
We don't see evolution happening today. We don't see one kind of creature changing into another kind. We also don't find...
Okay, so this is something that I've heard said before. The issue with that is that we're never going to. Because genuinely, there is no way to observe that because it happens so slowly. There is literally no way to observe that. Which is why I think it's very low-hanging fruit for creationists to go and just attack that. I think it's very low-hanging fruit. The thing is that if we can see the effects and we can see the causes, that means we know how and why something happens. And we know the cause and the effect of evolution. So we know how and why things are happening. We know how and why evolution works. That's the thing that creationists don't understand, is that just because we can't directly observe something does not mean that it doesn't exist. Have you ever directly observed God? You think it exists. Have you ever actually seen God? No, you haven't.
Find that in the fossil record. That's an assumption on the part of the evolutionary worldview.
We have transitional fossils that show that evolution happens. We have proof. Just because you don't want to believe it, because whatever reasons you have, does not mean it's not true.
Evolutionists have been changing the meanings of words like dinosaur, bird, and feather to match their assumptions that dinosaurs...
No, to match the evidence. Not the assumptions, to match the evidence that we have.
evolved into birds. They're using this new speak to build a bird evolution house of cards. This house of cards is required for the idea of feathered dinosaurs to stand up to scrutiny.
Now we're gonna talk.
No. That's not how that works. Oh, fuck. It's not like a house of cards. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Right? Jigsaw puzzle? That's the right word for that, right? Jigsaw puzzle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got the right word. Okay. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Just because we may be missing like a piece here and there does not mean that the rest of the puzzle does not fit together. You can't just disprove one thing and then it all falls apart. That's not how that works. It's not like a house of cards. You may be able to disprove that one thing, but you still have literally all the other pieces that fit together. We're just trying to make those pieces fit together better. We're trying to figure out why they fit together so that we can better inform our decisions.
Talk about 3 words in this episode. The first word that we're going to be talking about is the word dinosaur or dinosauria. The meaning of this word, the meaning of what a dinosaur is, has changed. For example, Richard Owen in 1842 was the first one to coin this word and its meaning, which is basically related to what a reptile is. The first change for the term dinosauria was proposed in 1992, and it was based on phylogenetic cladistics ideas. That is, the main background for this change is evolution. The idea that organisms are connected, are related. It was because of evolutionary ideas that phylogenetics and cladistics were developed, and they have been applied in the scientific field. Another change happened in 1993 and some other fields in 1998, 2000, 2002, until the latest in 2005. Here, you can see the changes that happened throughout those years. All of them have in common the same reason for that change, which is phylogenetic, cladistics, evolutionary idea.
Okay, so first off, the main reason we know that birds and dinosaurs are on the same strand of the evolutionary tree, the reason why we know that is because of genetics. I don't know how, but there has been like actual dinosaur tissue that has been preserved throughout the ages, and we have been able to test the genetics of that tissue and test the genetics of birds, and we have been able to connect them through their genetics, which sounds wild, but it is the best proof that we have.
However, this idea that led to include birds and dinosauria comes way before all those changes. It comes with Darwin's idea of evolution, and it had the support of Thomas Huxley, John Ostrom, Baker, and Galton, for example. And it was all based on evolutionary ideas.
Evolutionists are now saying that birds are dinosaurs. So they've changed.
No, they're not. Stop saying that, because it's not true.
Changed the definition of dinosaurs from a reptile that walks upright, like this Tyrannosaurus, to also include everything they believe evolved from a dinosaur. So the first word they changed is dinosaur. The next word they've changed is bird.
As you can see, in their worldview, aves and birds are not the same thing. They're not synonymous anymore, which leads to the conclusion that birds are living dinosaurs. As you can
Once again, birds are not dinosaurs. I'd like to point out that it says at the bottom that was from 1986. I'd be willing to bet that was at the very beginning of the hypothesis that birds came from dinosaurs. The issue with a lot of these creationist videos that I've found is that a lot of the time they try to disprove things that are outdated, things that we don't believe anymore, because you can very easily see that they're wrong. That's why we don't believe these things anymore. I see time and time again as creationists go after fucking Charles Darwin, when the only reason he is still associated with these beliefs is because he was the first one to posit them. He was the first one to be like, hey, this looks like this, and did research on it and found that, this is closely related to this. And the issue is that they act like Charles Darwin is our Jesus, when in reality, he is just the first one to come up with these ideas. And we have come so much further than that. From where we are today, the ideas that Charles Darwin suggested are the basics. And that's the problem, is that they try to go after Darwin as if Darwin was right about everything. As if we think that Darwin was right about everything. But that's not the case. They think of Darwin as our Jesus, and they think of evolution as our God. That's not how that works. That's not how we view it. Because they can't understand the idea of anybody thinking differently than they do. And that is the real problem here.
can also see here in this paper, birds are the sister group of mammals, birds are the sister group of crocodiles, birds are dinosaurs.
According to this new definition of bird, not all animals with feathers have to be birds, because it's not based on anatomy, it's based on evolution. They changed.
Okay. Once again. No. No. The reason why birds are birds is because of the evolutionary tree, yes. But if a bird evolved to not use feathers, we wouldn't call it a bird anymore. Because chances are, by the time that happens, the box that we made that is titled bird, the box around this particular branch of the evolutionary tree, that box would not extend far enough to include that new animal.
The definition of dinosaur, and now they've changed the definition of bird.
Not only that, but evolutionists have created a new term called non-avian dinosaur. A dinosaur that is not an ave, that's not a bird, well, that's what we expect.
Okay. As far as I know, avian just means that it flies. I may be wrong. Let me Google definition of avian. Oh, apparently it's relating to birds. That's interesting. Just a shot in the dark. Damn. Okay. That's interesting to me because I've always thought of avian as flying. That's very interesting to me. Definition of avian in reference to dinosaurs. Okay. That's interesting to me, honestly. Theropod dinosaurs. Interesting. I had no idea that avian didn't mean just flying. I learned something new today. That's cool. But I'd be willing to bet that avian dinosaurs, in all honesty, just means the dinosaurs that, oh fuck, sorry for my voice, that the dinosaurs that evolved into birds.
Right? Because a dinosaur is a dinosaur, which means a reptile, and a bird is a bird. This term alone is confusing. It sounds like a married single man. It makes no sense. The term itself shows bias and evolution, which means that's what we expect, right? Because a dinosaur is a dinosaur, which means a reptile, and a bird is a bird. This term alone is confusing.
Okay, so first of all, avian does not mean bird. It means in relation to birds. So it's not saying bird dinosaur. That's not what avian dinosaur means by definition. It means dinosaurs relating to birds.
Sounds like a married single man.
Also, this is taking for granted the two words married and single are opposites. Bird and dinosaur are not inherently opposites. They may be conflicting, but they are not inherently opposites. This is a bad analogy. Because the reason why married single man does not work is because the words married and single are opposites.
It makes no sense. The term itself shows bias and evolutionary ideas that birds and dinosaurs are connected.
Here's some examples of supposed non-avian dinosaurs. This group of animals includes Pyroraptor, the one we talked about earlier.
says non-avian. So, are you saying that only avian things can have feathers? Is that what you're saying? Because let me look at. Let me see if I can come up with one off the top of my head while we continue.
This group is called Maniraptora, and it also includes some other animals with much better preservation than Pyroraptor. Two animals called Microraptor and Caudipteryx have been found with complete wing feather impressions. Microraptor is
There are dinosaurs with feathers. You just said that. You just admitted it. So what is your problem here?
found 3 years after Pyroraptor, and this fossil was published with clear wing feathers and tail feathers. It's part of the Dromaeosaur family. Caudipteryx was first found in 1998, and this fossil was also found with clear wing feathers and clear tail feathers. It's related to the Oviraptor family.
The next word that they have redefined is the word feather. Here I'm holding a feather from African crowned crane from the zoo at the Ark Encounter. As you see in this paper, they are understanding and believing that the feather evolved. And in this paper, for example, they also talk about this new theory for evolutionary origin of feathers.
Feather definition. Any of the... Okay. That specifically says birds. Huh. That seems like not a great, let's see. I guess that's just describing what it is. I guess. That's just saying what is a feather, not what every feather is. Feather scientific. What is the scientific definition of a feather? Feathers are epidermal growths that form a distinctive outer covering or plumage on both avian and some non-avian dinosaurs and other archosaurs or archosaurs. So it says right here non-avian dinosaurs.
It's clear by that paper and others that the idea that feathers evolved is responsible for the idea that filaments should now be accepted as feathers, as we can see in this quote.
Here's a diagram that shows the supposed evolution of feathers. Stage 3 feathers, the ones in the middle, they haven't been found, and evolutionists can't explain what would cause them to form.
We do find some dinosaurs with preserved filaments, like this Sinosauropteryx, but just because evolutionists want this to be a feather does not make it a feather.
Okay, so stage 3 feathers. Is there proof of stage 3 feathers on dinosaurs? Okay, so I'm gonna throw something out there.
They haven't been found.
I'm gonna throw something out there. So you say that stage 3 feathers haven't been found on dinosaurs, but you have found stage 1 feathers on dinosaurs. I'm not sure if he's gonna say anything about stage 2 feathers, but wouldn't it stand to reason that if a specific species of dinosaur kept evolving, and then formed stage 3 feathers, isn't that a bird? Wouldn't that be a bird? Because you say that stage 3 feathers have never been found on dinosaurs. I don't think they... did they say that? I'm not sure. But they imply that stage 3 feathers haven't been found on dinosaurs. But if it went on to evolve, and then birds had the stage 3 feathers, that would still line up with scientific knowledge.
And evolutionists can't explain what would cause them to form.
We do find some dinosaurs with preserved filaments, like this Sinosauropteryx, but just because evolutionists want this to be a feather does not make...
Okay, so I have another thing to say now that I've re-listened to that. Wouldn't it make sense if the filaments, which I assume are like the core of the feather, like the pin of the feather, I assume that's what that means. Wouldn't it make sense that maybe the like feathery parts of the feather, you know what I mean, like the offshoots that make it fluffy, wouldn't it make sense that those bits may not have been preserved?
Make it a feather. Some evolutionists even believe that these filaments were actually collagen fibers under the skin.
Evolutionists are redefining all of these terms based on assumptions in their worldview. They justify...
It's not based on assumptions within our worldview. You annoying prick. Science is not done based on assumptions. It's done based on evidence. God, it's so annoying when fucking creationists go and say stuff like that. It's so amazingly irritating because it's just a smug shot that is a complete lie. And it's so irritating because they say it as fact. And it's just, this is why I stopped doing this. This is exactly why I stopped. Because of how irritating this is. I'm gonna stop it here. I think this has gone on long enough. God, that's irritating.